Thank you all so much for joining us for an introduction to Hanukkah. Tonight, we're going to learn about Hanukkah, a fun-filled 8-day festival celebrated by people all around the world who practice the Jewish faith. We're going to learn in this virtual presentation and Q&A from the Lappin Foundation. And the Lappin Foundation is a Massachusetts-based nonprofit organization that provides exciting programs for children, teens, and adults that spark an interest in Jewish living and learning, as well as foster positive relationships through education with individuals of all faiths. And the foundation's core mission is to enhance Jewish identity across generations. And tonight we're joined by Deborah Colton, who's the president and executive director of the Lappin Foundation. So all 75 of us, let's give a big virtual round of applause to Deborah for joining us here tonight. And Deborah, you can take it away. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Robert, and good evening, everyone. As Robert said, I go by Debbie Colton. I am the executive director of Lappin Foundation, whose mission is enhancing Jewish identity across generations. And it's really a pleasure to be with everyone this evening for an introduction to Hanukkah. And Robert, thank you so much for inviting me to do the program. I do want to mention, this is Lappin Foundation's second program in Tewksbury in as many months. I had the honor of organizing a program for students at the Wynn Middle School, featuring a talk by Holocaust survivor, Dr. Hans Fischer, who was on the ship, the St. Louis, as a child. So it's nice to be back in the community of Tewksbury, and I'm thrilled to see all these people from many different communities joining us this evening. Thank you for putting the cities and towns where you're joining us from, but something else that is I'm curious about is what brought you to this program? If you could just put it in the chat. Why are you here? What are you hoping to learn? Is there something specific? And feel free to let me know if you have any questions about my presentation by posting in the chat, and we'll get to them at the end of my remarks. So I want to begin with telling you that Hanukkah falls on the 25th day of the Hebrew month of Kislev. Judaism follows a lunar calendar, so the date on the Gregorian calendar changes every year for Hanukkah. Some years we celebrate Hanukkah closer to Thanksgiving, and other years, like this year, we're celebrating it closer to Christmas. This year, Hanukkah will begin on Sunday evening at sunset and will be celebrated for 8 days. Hanukkah is often referred to as the Jewish Christmas, but this really isn't accurate. Aside from generally being celebrated in December and the tradition of gift giving, there's little that connects these two holidays. And while both have religious meanings behind them, Christmas is far more a major religious holiday than Hanukkah is. Actually, in the Jewish faith, Hanukkah is a minor festival. Unlike the other major holidays of Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year, Yom Kippur, a very solemn day of atonement, and Passover, a spring holiday marking our freedom from slavery. The word Hanukkah itself means dedication, and I'm going to pronounce it for you in Hebrew. It's Chanukah. Might want to try that, Chanukah. Hanukkah, first celebrated in 165 BCE, is also known as the Festival of Lights. As I said, it's an 8-day festival, and it commemorates the rededication of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem after the Jewish people reclaimed it from the Syrian Greeks. And light is really and truly central to the holiday. The explanation of
Debbie,
sure.
Can I pause you for a second?
Sure.
And you have such a good flow going. But Debbie, and I could be completely mistaken, and I apologize in advance, but we're not seeing your slides. Did you have a slideshow to share?
Not yet.
Oh, so son of a gun.
It's okay.
Keep going, Debbie. Don't mind me.
I'm going to show you some beautiful menorahs in a few minutes.
Oh, perfect. All right. Thank you.
Sure, but thank you for checking, Robert. That's important. Yeah. So there are many explanations of Hanukkah, but the one I especially like is offered by the National Jewish Outreach Program, and they explain it like this. When the Greeks conquered the world, they brought with them their highly developed Hellenistic culture, the philosophy of Plato's and Aristotle, the multitude of Greek gods and goddesses, and the worship of the physical. And at first, the Greeks were peaceful rulers, luring Jewish people to their culture by inviting them in and being open and searching the wisdom of Judaism. But in the year 199 BCE, in the land of Judea, which was in that area at the time, had been under the control of the Greeks ruling from Egypt, and that was conquered by the Greeks ruling from Syria. And the Syrian Greeks didn't feel it was appropriate for the Jewish people, now their subjects, to maintain their own national culture. By now, they felt the Jews should have seen the error of their primitive ways and grasped the far more advanced Hellenistic culture with open arms. And many did, but the majority of Jewish people, however, did not. And they maintained their heritage of their ancestors, incorporating some Hellenistic activities, but remaining faithful to the Torah, which is our Jewish holy scripture, our Jewish law. And the Syrian Greeks tried to force the Jews to assimilate. The study of the Jewish law, the Torah, became a capital crime. Circumcision, which is central to Judaism, was outlawed. But if a parent was found to have circumcised an infant son, both the parent and the child were put to death. The Syrian Greeks set up idols in town squares and called the Jews to the square and forced them to bow down or sacrifice a pig before it. And they even forced Jewish brides before their marriage to sleep with local Syrian Greek officers. So their campaign against Judaism began slowly, but by 168 BCE, they had desecrated the Holy Temple in Jerusalem by setting a statue of Zeus in the main plaza. We have to remember, Jewish people are monotheistic people, believing in one God and no graven image of God. So placing Zeus in the temple really desecrated it. But in the town of Modi'in, which is west of Jerusalem, and it's still there today, there lived a man named Mattathias. And he was from the Hasmonean family, which is one of the branches of the priestly sects of Judaism. And in 167 BCE, Syrian Greek soldiers came to the town of Modi'in and demanded that the Jews sacrifice a pig in the town to one of their gods. Pig is a non-kosher animal, and it's forbidden to be eaten by observant Jews. Knowing that Mattathias was considered a righteous leader, the Syrian Greeks singled him out. But Mattathias refused to sacrifice the animal, even under the threat of death. Not all the Jews were so brave and devoted, but Mattathias, joined by his sons, attacked the soldiers, decimating the forces by the end of the day. And needless to say, Mattathias and his sons fled Modi'in and took refuge in the hills. And while Mattathias began the revolt, sadly, he didn't live to see its end. After his passing, within a year of the start of the revolt, the leadership was taken up by his son Judah, a valiant soldier and a wise tactician. In the hills, Judah gathered a band of Jewish freedom fighters who were prepared to fight for the Jewish way of life, and they became known as the Maccabees, and Judah was Judah the Maccabee, and that is Judah the Hammer. He was known as Judah the Hammer. Under the leadership of Judah Maccabee, the Jews fought a war to free their nation, their primary goal being to cleanse the Holy Temple from the pagans that desecrated it and to rededicate it to the Jewish way of life. And it was a challenging fight with the vast might and numbers on the side of the Syrian Greeks. The Jews were clearly at a disadvantage of this today. But the Jewish people had a steadfast will and a knowledge that they were fighting for their Jewish identity. In 165 BCE, the Maccabees succeeded in retaking the temple. They were aghast, just shocked to find that the soldiers had thoroughly rampaged and desecrated the holy site. So the Jews immediately set to work removing statues, scrubbing the altar, cleaning the temple, and taking the necessary steps to rededicate it. And on the southern side of the sanctuary stood the grand golden menorah. And the menorah was the 7-branch lamp that provided light for the temple. And in those days, it was lit with oil, but there was no oil to light it with. And as the Jews cleaned the temple, they searched for an unopened jar of pure oil, which we considered kosher oil. And when all seemed lost, however, one small jar with its seal still intact was found. And the Jews rejoiced and they hurried to the menorah to rededicate the temple. But one small jar of oil, and it would take another week for a fresh jar of pure olive oil to be made. So the Jewish people who were at the temple were in a quandary. What were they going to do? Were they going to light the menorah and let it fizzle out while they waited for more oil? Or do they wait and use the oil the day before the new oil arrived in order to keep the flame continuous? That's the whole point of the menorah, was to keep the flame continuously lit. Not wanting to put off the lighting of the menorah, they decided to light it with a little bit of oil, and the miracle of Hanukkah happened. Despite the small quantity of oil, the menorah remained lit for the entire 8 days, announcing to the world that God's presence once again resided in the temple. So as you can see, Hanukkah is a holiday of miracles, a holiday of light and freedom. And we remember 2 miracles during the festival of Hanukkah. One is we believe to be the divine miracle of the oil lasting for 8 days, even though there was just enough for maybe 1 day. And the second miracle, just as important, was the miracle of right over might, the miracle of the victory of the righteous few who fought to preserve their Jewish identity, the Maccabees, over the powerful Greek Syrian forces. And for Jewish people, it's the miracle to be free and to practice our religion and express our Jewish identity, which I believe this day really is the essence of the Hanukkah story and the reason why we still celebrate it today. So how do we celebrate Hanukkah? So I want to share my screen. Slideshow. We celebrate Hanukkah by lighting a menorah, but the Hanukkah menorah is different than a menorah that might be used during the year to light Sabbath candles. A Hanukkah menorah, as you can see, has 9 branches, right? It has 9 branches because one branch, the one that is higher than all the others, holds the head candle called the shamash candle. And we light the helper candle to light all the other candles. So the helper candle, the head candle, doesn't count as one of the candles of the days, 8 days for Hanukkah. And some people still light their menorahs with oil, but most people use candles. The menorah is central to the festival. And now you can understand why, right? Because the miracle of the oil lasted for 8 days. And there are so many different menorahs to choose from. The thing about what makes a menorah kosher, though, is that 8 of them have to be the same height, and the helper candle can be any height. So some are traditional that look like this, and others look like this fun one. And you can have fun with Hanukkah menorahs. And see, the 8 are the same height, and the helper is higher there. As I said, that's a traditional one. Here's one that a child might use, sports themed. 8, the same, the 9th is higher. And here's one that my husband, being a Celtics fan, would absolutely love. So I wanted to show you some Hanukkah menorahs that he used. And so on Hanukkah, one more thing I do want to point out is that we light 1 candle the first night, 2 the second, 3 the third. You understand, increasing light. And that's what the holiday is about. It's about increasing the light of the festival. And that's why we add candles every night rather than light all of them and subtract every night. Candles are put in the menorah from right to left, but they're lit from left to right, the newest night first. And one of the beautiful rituals of Hanukkah is to place a menorah in a window very carefully, making sure nothing could catch fire, to show the world, first of all, one's Jewish identity and to remind us of the miracle of oil. Before we light the menorahs, there are blessings that we say. On the first night, there were 3 blessings. And very quickly, the summary is the first blessing is thanking God for the gift of life to get to this special holiday of Hanukkah. And the second one is, thanking God for the commandment to light the menorah. The second is remembering the days of past and why our heritage to do so is important. And the third one, which we say only on the first night, is thanking God for giving us the gift of life to reach this miracle of the holiday of Hanukkah. And so the home rituals, really, that's what it is. It's about lighting a menorah. But something else we do at home is we play dreidel. If we were in person, I'd give everybody a dreidel and we would play, but we're not. So I'll explain the game to you. So this is a dreidel. A dreidel is a top, a spinning top, and they're 4-sided. And on each side is a Hebrew letter. And each letter stands for a Hebrew word in a sentence. The Hebrew word is Nes Gadol Haya Sham. A great miracle happened there, right? It's the essence of the Hanukkah story. It reminds us about why we're celebrating. What was the great miracle? The miracle of the oil, the miracle of right over might, right? And where is there? The land of Israel. And it's interesting, in Israel, their dreidels say in Hebrew, a great miracle happened here. This shin, the letter on the right, is a different Hebrew letter. It's the Hebrew letter for here. So kids, adults, everybody has fun playing dreidel. Each letter you can play for points. Each letter corresponds to points. A gimel is 3, a hey is 5, a nun is 50, and a shin is 300. So you can play for points, and you can say, we're going to spin it for 10 rounds. Whoever has the most points at the end of 10 rounds wins. Or you can play for things like M&Ms or, anything you can put in the middle, and each letter tells you what to do. So everybody starts off, they put like one M&M in the middle, and then you spin it. If you get a gimel, you get everything in the pot. If you get the hay, you get half. If you get the nun, you get nothing. And if you get the shin, you put something in. So that, my friends, is the fun game of dreidel. And if anybody wants the directions, they're online. You can get them, or get in touch with Robert, or get in touch with me at Lappin Foundation, and I will gladly send you the directions to play dreidel. And there are synagogue rituals during Hanukkah for those who go to synagogue to celebrate, and there are special psalms and prayers that are read. The other thing we like to do, of course, is eat. And what do you traditionally eat on Hanukkah? And that is foods that are cooked in oil. And 2 specialty foods are potato latkes. Those are potato pancakes, grated potatoes, fried in oil. It is so delicious. And the other thing is called in Hebrew sufganiyot, and those are donuts, jelly donuts, because again, they're fried. And so latkes and donuts are traditional foods on the holiday of Hanukkah. So as I said, it's a minor festival, but it has a lot of symbolism. And it has a lot of symbolism, I think, especially for Jewish people today. As you may or may not know, there's a disturbing rise in anti-Semitism in our communities right here in Massachusetts, it was just reported earlier this week that anti-Semitic acts in our state alone are up 42%. There's a disturbing rise around the country and across and around the world. And I think for us who are Jewish, to be proud, to light the menorah in our homes, in public places, to have a wonderful program like this tonight and have more than 80 people attend, that's wonderful. That really is. And that really and truly, I believe, also captures the essence of the Hanukkah story. So I would love to know, I'm going to take a quick look in the chat. And Robert, if you want to help, if you see any questions yet. No, most people just want to tell me why they're here. And if anyone has a question, I'm going to tell you. Robert, do you have a question for me?
Well, I do have a couple of questions. Just so you know, Debbie, the audience can't read each other's comments.
Right.
So why don't we read some of them out loud?
Sure, go ahead, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Diane says that she's here tonight because her daughter-in-law is Jewish and she wants to learn more about the holiday. Marilyn says, I'm just curious to see what you would present. Colleen says, I want to enhance my comfort with different faiths. Mary says, I know very little about Hanukkah, but I'd like to know more. Cynthia says, I have friends who are Jewish and I'm interested in learning more about their holy holidays. Asmena says, I know about Hanukkah and it always sparked curiosity. Tonight was a wonderful opportunity to learn more about it. Thank you to the libraries. Denise says, I grew up Catholic, but I like learning about other faiths. Pat says, I'm attending this webinar to embrace and hold on to old memories. Thank you for this program. Stacy says that she just wanted to learn more about the holiday. And so Debbie, we do have some questions.
Great.
So an anonymous attendee asks, how old is the donut eating tradition?
I don't know. That's such a great question. I really don't know. I don't think that the Maccabees were eating donuts in the days of Hanukkah, but that is such a good question. I bet if you Google it on donuts, I will try to find out, Robert, and get back to you. Maybe you can send a note to people who attend the. That's a great question.
And I'll see what as a librarian, I can see what I'll find out on my end. Wendy asks, how did the gift giving become a part of the holiday?
Yeah, see, that has different, it's funny, it's really big here in America. It's not big in Israel and other countries. And I think here when Hanukkah took on more of a holiday as a way for Jewish people to assimilate right into the greater culture, and giving is so central to the Christmas season that influenced the gift giving aspect of Hanukkah, because actually it's the Jewish holiday of Passover that more traditional parents tend to give their children gifts at that time. So it really was at a time that assimilate more into the broader culture.
So Debbie, obviously Hanukkah and Christmas get compared and contrast due to their proximity. One of my favorite things about Christmas, though, is the Christmas music. And I'm ashamed to admit that I'm not too familiar with Hanukkah music. I think the only Hanukkah song I know is the Adam Sandler Hanukkah song. Are there other Hanukkah songs that folks of the Jewish faith sing?
There are, and they're festive songs, but our theme song of Hanukkah, I actually brought that, and I would like to play that. I forgot to tell you, I brought that, and it is sung by a choir in New York. I am so moved by it. Let me tell you a bit about the song. It's called Ma'od Sor, Rock of Ages. And the idea is that even though we didn't think we could do it, with the help of God, we did it, right? So God is our rock of ages. And let me play this. And the way they sing it, you can feel the spirit of the song. So let me share my screen again. Okay.
And Debbie, when you share your screen, make sure to click that box about sharing sound.
Oh, yeah.
You're a pro, you know.
Oh, yeah. play it. Okay, can you see this, Robert?
No, we only see you right now.
Let me do this again. Oh, share. Now you can see it, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, listen to this. Beautiful.
Very nice, Debbie.
Beautiful. It is really captures the spirit of the holiday. And then, of course, there are lots of other songs like I Have a Little Dreidel. I don't know if you ever heard, I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay. You know, these cute little songs for children. And there are some prayers in the synagogue that are sung, but the music is not as rich and beautiful as the Christmas music is. But we certainly do have our Hanukkah songs. But the one you just heard is like the theme song of Hanukkah, Rock of Ages.
In the chat, I did want to share a message. Reading, which is one of the communities that is co-sponsoring tonight's event, they're having their first annual town public menorah lighting on Monday, December 19th at 5:30 on their town common. And so for folks in the area, I shared the information in the chat. So thank you, Susan. All right, back to the questions. Judy wants to know, why are blue and white the colors of Hanukkah?
Well, it's not official colors of Hanukkah, right? So the Israeli flag, that Israel's the Jewish homeland, and the Israeli flag is blue and white. So blue and white have been adopted as the colors of Hanukkah, but it's not, it's not official or anything. But that's why blue and white, a lot of times, that's what you see with Jewish holidays, blue and white.
Stephen asks, before Christ, were the primary Western religions Judaism and Islam? What religions did the Greeks, Ottomans, etc., practice prior to Christianity?
Well, there was Judaism. I mean, I'm not a historian, and I apologize. And there was, so I don't know. There were, prior to Christianity, Western world, yeah.
We're going to research that one as well.
Yeah, good question.
Debbie, a lot of families, have multiple religions.
Yes.
The spouse is one religion, the other spouse is a different religion. And so, I'm familiar with lots of families that celebrate both Christmas and Hanukkah. Are you familiar with how those two holidays are blended together?
Every family, interfaith family, has their own tradition, right? So they do different things, like I've seen Christmas trees with Jewish stars on the top, or as part of the ornaments. I've seen, especially when it doesn't come at the same time, the families celebrate the traditions of both, and they make it work for each other. So it's whatever a family wants to do to make it meaningful and comfortable for them works for them, and that's what they'll do.
An anonymous attendee asks, in one of the photos, there were gold coins next to the dreidels.
Yes.
What is their role in the holiday?
That's such a great question. That is called Hanukkah gelt, Hanukkah money. So that's candy. Those are chocolate coins, by the way. And that's like a fun treat to give each other on Hanukkah. And some people, there was a tradition of giving money instead of gifts. and giving and using some of that money for charity, donating it. So Hanukkah Gelt is kind of like, it's a mitzvah. It's a good thing to give on the holiday of Hanukkah.
So Marilyn says, and I apologize for any mispronunciations. Marilyn says, Ocho Candelitas is a nice song. Steven, let me see here. Oh, P asks, so Pat asks, where was that children's chorus from
New
that you showed the
York.
clip?
Yeah, it was
York?
from New York. It's at, yeah, public school. I believe it was in New York. Wasn't that beautiful? So beautiful.
Pat says that when Christmas and Hanukkah combine, a lot of delicious foods are blended together.
A lot of
And-
delicious foods, and that, you know, when the holidays do come as they do, there's, I think, just the light increases in the world as well, right? So our holiday begins Sunday and it ends on, I believe, on the 26th. Yep, the last day. So the last candle will be the 25th. And it's special. It's really special to have it when we're all celebrating something together.
Now, Debbie, there are countless Christmas movies in pop culture.
Yeah.
Any Hanukkah movies? Is there a top 10 Hanukkah movie
No,
list?
there was a kids movie, Fievel and the Hanukkah something or other, but nothing like Christmas. The beauty, really truly the beauty of Christmas, but it is so central to what the majority practice and believe. But you know what's interesting? How many Christmas carols were composed by Jewish composers?
Interesting.
Fascinating how many, right, by Jewish composers. Yeah.
And just to kind of circle back, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that you think non-Jewish folks have about the holiday of Hanukkah?
Well, you know what, and I'd love to hear from people in the chat too. What is something that you thought was true, but you learned differently tonight, right? That would be a misconception. Put it in the chat. But I think that Hanukkah is a Jewish Christmas, that it was invented by Jewish people, so the Jewish kids wouldn't feel left out. So they invented Hanukkah. That it's a major holiday, and it's not. It's really not whatsoever. It's actually the major holidays like the New Year, the Day of Atonement, Passover. We don't work. Traditional people who practice traditional Judaism don't work, especially on New Year, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur. A day in prayer. On Yom Kippur, it's fasting, but Hanukkah isn't like that. Hanukkah, you can eat, you can work. It's a minor festival. So I think that's probably the biggest misconception, that it's this big grand holiday, and it's not. That's part of the whole assimilation thing of being part of the larger culture. That's a good question.
So
Cynthia says Hallmark has 2 Hanukkah movies. That's great.
There you go. We're up to 2. Wendy has a good question, Wendy. I struggled with this myself. Wendy wants to know, why is Hanukkah spelled so many different ways?
Oh, great question. Okay. In Hebrew, it's spelled one way, Hanukkah. But in English, because we transliterate, some people do the a CH, right? Some people do it H. And in Hebrew, it's pronounced Chanukah, but in English, we write Hanukkah. It's just because when you transliterate from Hebrew to English, there are really no rules for transliteration. But you know what I do want to say, especially if you have Jewish family and friends and they have children, there are so many, dozens and dozens of gorgeous Jewish books about Hanukkah now on the market for all age groups, for little ones, infants through 12-year-olds. And Lappin Foundation has this great program called PJ Library. We are part of an international network. You must know of it, Robert. And Jewish families, Jewish and interfaith families, can sign up and get free Jewish books mailed to their children at home. And if anybody's interested, while I'm talking, Robert, let me just put pjlibrary.org. You can go to this website, anybody, if you happen to be Jewish, and have children, or if you have grandchildren or your neighbors, tell them to check it out. It's beautiful. But the books are beautiful. The stories are rich, all kinds of different customs. You know, they're all kinds of different Jewish customs, depending on the country where a Jewish person lives. And food, especially around food. You know how when you live in a country, there are certain customs around that food. So the Hanukkah books are beautiful. And you are hosting a PJ Library story time, I believe, right? A Hanukkah story time. And there are lots of PJ Library Hanukkah story times happening, and menorah lightings, everybody, all over the community on the North Shore and beyond. So if you want to come be part of something special and feel the light of the menorah, you know, we would love to welcome you at any of these communities.
So folks, we're going to take roughly 10 more minutes of questions. Get your questions in. It's not every night that you get to speak one-on-one with the president and executive director of one of the largest Jewish foundations in the state here. So Louise asks, is there any variation in how Hanukkah is either understood or celebrated across the various denominations of Judaism?
Yes, great question. So the various denominations are of Judaism. The main ones are Orthodox, Conservative, and Reform. Okay, so Orthodox people will be much more the religious side of it, going to temple, saying certain prayers, things like that. It's still a minor festival. They still work, everything like that. They would be very diligent about maybe when they light the menorah. I don't know if they light it exactly at sundown, but the more liberal Jews do it anytime. In the Jewish faith, our holidays begin at sunset. Our day begins at night. When the sun sets, it's the beginning of a new day. So that's why it begins at night. So the Conservative, Reform would light it any time after sunset. And other than that, it's minor, and it's around the menorah and saying those blessings. That's central. I see somebody asked a great question. What year are we in? What Jewish year are we in? We are in the year 5783. Jewish people believe that the world was created 5783 years ago. And on Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, that's when we begin counting the year. The next year will start on the next Rosh Hashanah, early fall next year. That's a good question.
Also in the chat, I wanted to acknowledge that the Maynard Memorial lighting is on December 21st at 7 o'clock in the Memorial Park on Summer Street. And hopefully folks have been paying attention. Debbie's been sharing various websites along with her email address in the chat. So make sure to copy and paste or save those, write those down. So folks, we're going to take 5 more minutes of questions, so get them on in. Debbie, could you talk briefly? Well, first of all, I was going to ask you about the books, and you preemptively answered that question. But could you talk a little bit more about the Lappin Foundation and how folks on the call, or really anyone, can support your organization?
Sure. Thank you so much. Yeah, I invite everybody to visit the website, lappinfoundation.org. It changes all the time. All of our programs are free. They're open to everybody. Our programs for adults are all held on Zoom now. That was one of the blessings of COVID. We've just gained an audience all over the country, even Europe. It's amazing. But we have wonderful programs. If you want to learn more about Judaism, please come to our programs. I do want to invite everybody on January 26th. That's the 27th is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. And all around the world, we are joining people all around the world to commemorate the day now. It was proclaimed by the UN, I believe maybe in 2005, but for everybody to remember the Holocaust and the lessons we as humanity and societies can learn from the Holocaust. We will be having a survivor speak, Lucia Milch. She'll be on Zoom. And what's important about that is all the survivors are pretty much in their 90s now. So we are on the threshold of time, everybody, that there'll be no more survivors alive to bear witness to the Holocaust, leaving it to us to do. So I invite you, come, hear the testimony, participate and reflect on what is the lesson of the Holocaust for all of us. Again, program is free. Lappin Foundation has all kinds of programs about Israel, about we're having one about the 1939 World's Fair, believe it or not. Like what was Jewish about it, and the fair through the Jewish perspective, because World War, right? We're in the midst of that, and the Holocaust at its height is around the corner. So come and learn something new. We just do all kinds of programs about Jewish heritage, Jewish culture, and also we offer programs to schools, public, private, charter schools, community, civic organizations about the Holocaust and anti-Semitism. I'm very busy in schools right now delivering a Holocaust symposium to high schools, middle schools. And if anybody's town or city wants to learn more, please get in touch with me, because there are lessons in it for all of us. And we take Jewish kids to Israel as a Jewish heritage trip, so they can understand where they came from and what this thing Judaism is about. And we do beautiful PJ Library. We have a vibrant interfaith outreach initiative, inviting people who want to learn about Judaism to our Introduction to Judaism course. It's free. It's all on Zoom, taught by rabbis, and we would love to have you if you just want to come and learn. That's what we're about. Thank you.
Great. Well, yeah, no, Debbie, that's wonderful. And I think it's probably best to just end it there.
Great.
So Debbie, wonderful job. Thank
you.
you so much for being so generous with your time.
My
And
pleasure.
I think that you've certainly enlightened me and educated me on a topic that I needed some education on. So thank you so much. And folks, look for an email from me tomorrow with a link to a feedback survey, link to this recording. I'll also provide the links that Debbie put in the chat to her organization's website and her email address. I again want to thank the Friends of the Tewksbury Library who will be making a donation to the Lappin Foundation.
Thank you.
And I want to thank the other 20 libraries or so who partnered with Tewksbury to help promote tonight's event. Folks in the chat are thanking you, Debbie. Michelle says this is such great information about programs, history, etc. Definitely looking forward to learning more. More information is definitely welcome. Thank you. Susan says thank you very much. Diane says thank you, Debbie. Stephen says, Robert, you're a great moderator. Oh, Stephen, I don't believe you. So we will we'll wrap it there, Debbie. Thank you so much. And I hope you and everyone else enjoys the rest of their evening.
Thank you. And I want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate, happy, healthy, and a wonderful New Year. Thanks again.
Yeah, happy
Good
Hanukkah,
night.
Debbie. Yep.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye all.